Recording. Hello. Okay, so these are Allen Edmonds with full leather soles. The leather is walnut. I am soapy, soapy, soapy. There we go. Saddle soap with a dauber. Scrubby, scrubby, scrubby. Still getting a hang of the framing as I'm just using my phone to do these videos. And my cat is on my lap, so if you hear any rumblings, it's from the cat sitting on my lap. So saddle soap real quick on each. Important to get into the welt. Here I'm using a nylon bristled nail brush to get into the welt. And you'll also see me pick up some Q-tips. I'll do 2 Q-tips to get into the welt, because cleaning into the welt is incredibly important. That's a stress point on shoes. So when dirt collects in there, the dirt is a drying and abrasive agent. And so clean welts. Clean the welt, clean the world. Scrubby, scrubby, scrubby. Second shoe, a little bit of soap, a little bit of water. The guy who owns these shoes, he gets the shoes done. He gets a pair of shoes done almost every single time he comes in. And so none of his shoes they're always well taken care of, because he always gets at least one pair done every single time he comes in. And so if you keep on top of the maintenance every single time, it's a lot easier. The cleaning isn't as hard because they're just keeping up on it. And so there's not a lot of hard work. There's not a great deal of repair. There's not a great deal of staining. And so you're just keeping on top of it at all times. So again, into the welt with a Q-tip. Get all the soap out, get all the dirt out. Get the stitching super, super clean. And scrubby, scrubby, scrubby. And what you're going to see me do, because these are all leather soles, you're going to see me edging the soles with an Angelus dye pen that is filled with Phoebing's Pro Dye. The color happens to be light brown for these. The Angelus dye pen, the nice thing about it is you've got a great deal of control versus a dauber. And so you're applying a precision amount, and you're also applying a really light amount. The Pro Dye dries less quickly than the alcohol-based dye. And so the less you apply in a situation like this, the faster it dries. That's physics. So I'm primarily hitting the edges, the very bottom of the edge, so you apply as little as possible to get the color right. That's the Pro Dye. You'll see me kind of smearing it around with a finger, because you don't need a whole lot of dye. The traditional way to do the edging on a leather sole is to use dye followed by polish. And the polish will come later, because you do still need some time. I'm getting the tip. The tip is always the most scuffed. So get that real good. Dye, dye, dye. Dye, dye. So I'll apply polish over the dye a couple steps later. But at this point, I'm just getting the dye in real good on the edges of the full leather sole. Dye, 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 dye. And I just filled that particular dye pen, just topped it off just yesterday. So it's full of fresh Phoebing's light brown Pro Dye. Okay, cap off my dye pen. And I go back and forth between each shoe. And this is the Kelly's Mid-10 shoe polish. Tiny, tiny amounts applied with my fingers. And the framing is not awesome. I'm kind of doing these videos guerrilla style. The owner of the barbershop knows that I do videos like this, but it's still, I try to keep it on the QT because I don't need to be bothering anybody else while I'm doing these, and so I kind of do these real sly-like. So I'm recording with my phone, and so I can't really tell what's being seen and what isn't, but I try my best to keep everything in frame. Now, something you'll see me do, well, maybe I already did it. There's creases across the toe, and you got to get in. No, I think I get, no, wait, no, and nope. Okay. So anyways, the creases across the toe, you want to make sure that you're getting into the quote-unquote grain of the creases. Maybe it shows it better in the shoe. But you want to make sure that you're getting into the creases across the toe. So yeah, get it into the grain across the toe with the polish. I do 2 applications of polish almost always, and so the first one is always a little bit more than the second one. The first one I'm really working it into the leather, and you'll see some cribblies, polish cribblies everywhere. There we go. There I am, little across the creases. So yeah, the first application is a little bit heavier, working it into the cracks and crevices. Always with my fingers. You've got better control with your fingers. Think of the grooves in your fingertips as the same concept as a fountain pen, like a dip fountain pen, like a quill. The little ridges on your fingertips pick up just enough polish for, quick applications like this. And so you're not using too much if you're only picking it up with just the grooves in your fingertips. Okay, hi kitten. And we're brushing it out. And some people say that you can only brush in one direction. I always brush in multiple directions. Especially when you're talking about across the... Come on, show it. Jeepers creepers. Okay. I go in both directions, the length and the width. And here I am with a second quick, light application of polish. Getting into the cracks and crevices. But yeah, whenever I buff, I'm always going lengthwise and crosswise. Just because. And some people think you can't get the polish right, and that's silly. So anyways. Okay. Now what I'm about to do here is I'm picking up the mahogany Kelly's shoe polish to use on the edging of the full leather soles. And there it is, the Kelly's mahogany. And I'm going to be applying this to the edges of the full leather soles. And what I'm doing is I'm using, it's on my index finger, and I'm using the second finger as a guide along the bottom of the heel and the sole, so that I'm keeping it off the uppers of the shoes. So I'm using my whole hand to guide me as I'm applying the polish to just the edges. Okay. I could have shown that better, but that's fine. And back to the mid-tan, buffing this one out, buffing in multiple directions, buffing quickly, big strokes with the big brush, Buffy, 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 Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Buffy. So, back to the mid-tan, applying polish to the upper of the shoe. Super, super light application. Super light application all over the whole shoe. Okay, done with the mid-tan, back to the mahogany. And then I wipe my fingers really well on the towel before I bother with another color. And then again, applying the mahogany to just the edges of the full leather sole. Using my whole hand as a guide to keep the polish off the uppers. And because I'm working back and forth between the two shoes, that allows the solvents from the polish enough time to evaporate. If you were to just do one shoe at a time, it's not enough time for the solvents from the polish to evaporate. And then you're just working too quickly and you just start smearing the polishes around. So, back and forth, back and forth. And buffing up the whole shoe, including the edges of the soles. That's just enough heat, enough pressure, enough quote-unquote burnishing to get a good look on the edges of the soles as well as the rest of the shoe. I do a quick brush, lace up the shoe. That gives just a little bit more time for the polishes, for the solvents of the polish to evaporate off. Quick buff, lace them up, quick buff again, final buff. These are laced in what I call complex, or this is what I call blind ladder. And I can do a video specifically. It probably has a more official name, but it's what I call blind ladder, because all you can see across is the laces on the outside. And then after I lace them, I do a quick buff again. Buffy, Buffy, Buffy. Making sure I'm getting the soles as well as the uppers. And I will do a video of specifically just the lacing pattern. But the way this is laced, you can't see the laces cross underneath. The laces go under and up, which I can explain in a future video of just lacing. But this is what I call blind ladder. It probably has its own name, but I have my own names for everything because why not? So blind ladder. Quick final buff. and Alan Edmonds and walnut.